let's take the Isak one for example, that maybe Liverpool's been chasing him for a while and they're waiting for him to put a bid in, and they put the bid in, they thought, yeah, great, they're going to accept it. Or they're not going to accept it, obviously they don't accept it. Then he's probably getting pressure from Liverpool to say, right, we now need you to go in and try and be a bit naughty about it, try and agitate for a move. That's just what happens. And that pressure's on Isak then from the club where he wants to go. He clearly wants to go and play for.
I think so. We've just putting it in, Joe, Newcastle fan. This is your debut. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. I think, and you've started us off on the one that gets me really, really hated by a lot of Newcastle fans, I suppose. Before Isak disappeared to Spain, and before all of that situation of not wanting to travel to Singapore, I think personally Isak was justified, and I know there's a lot of Newcastle fans out there who sit there and go, no player's bigger than the club, and I don't think it even needs to come to that argument. Majority of, and this goes even further than Newcastle fans, there's many football fans out there who rate Isak like he's the best striker in the world, and if that's the case, why is he on less wages than the likes of a Jack Grealish who barely plays? Why is he not getting the money that he deserves? And I personally think at first when he came out...
What do you mean while he's at Newcastle now?
Yeah, like
because when he came, he wasn't the best in the world.
No, then he wasn't. But I think I said this last season. I went before this season ends. We need to be putting bigger wages on Isak if we expect to keep him. If we expect to keep him happy, I think he deserves it. Do I think he deserves 350,000 a week? Maybe not. But I think what's wrong with negotiating a 250,000 contract now, though, as bringing up the loyalty conversation there. Now that he's chucked his dummy out the pram and all his toys, and we've seen. When the clubs came back, everyone's been given a day off and Isak's been in training by himself. Yeah. That's punishment. No way about it.
It's not so much about the money though, is it? Because Newcastle will be afford to give him that 250, 300 grand. They'll be able to give him the same wage as Liverpool.
Yeah.
But if he goes to Liverpool, he's winning trophies.
I think we've just got to clarify. I think what he's talking about, what happened with him was, there's a feeling that when Amanda Staveley was there, I think about 12 months ago, they've moved on. Because he'd made such a good start and he signed a 5-year contract or something, he's probably on good dough, but not amazing dough because he's not this world-class striker. Yeah. Once he's become that, I think he was told that your wage is going to go. They then left the club and then they had the PSR issues. Yeah. And then I think the sporting director from last year, Mitchell, came in and was a bit like, we can't afford to put him on 250, 300 grand a week. Remember last summer Newcastle were sort of players were coming in and out. So I think, he's still got a bee in his bonnet about that when you read between the lines. So that's where you're saying you've got...
You would though, wouldn't you? As a player, you would.
If he
as a player, you would.
Isak as well, when you say that about trophies, I know you don't really appreciate the Carabao Cup, Paul, but the trophies...
I do now.
He won. You do you now? Why? Because he might win it next season. No, but for me, like Isak won that trophy and he was dead proud. You've seen how happy he was, and I think he knew in his mind. And again, it goes back to the Paul Mitchell conversation. What's happened behind the scenes where Isak has been all of a sudden told, right, you're not getting the money, to make Isak unhappy? The back end of that season, he seemed like one of the happiest players on our squad. He's celebrating. He's coming out talking about so much. He was in a great position, and all he really needed was that bump in wages, and now he hasn't received that. And I kind of understand.
I didn't realise. I didn't know that was the case.
It's also to draw Liverpool as well. It's not just the wages.
Exactly. Like I get that. It's Liverpool. It's a bigger club, if you will. You know, they've just won the Premier League.
If you will know.
It's not so much the club, it's the chance of winning trophies.
Well, I think for Isak,
you could win the Premier League, you could win the Champions League, you could win Champions
League. Yeah. Like, would I want to sit here and say as a hot take, are Newcastle going to win the Champions League? I would love to say that. And forget about the transfer window that we're having at the moment. I would love to say that. Is it going to happen? No, it's not realistic. Isak's looking at it, and he goes to, say, a Man City or a Liverpool, and he goes, well, I could win the Champions League with them, become this world star and really become the next Ibrahimovic, say, like he was pipped to be. He was going to be that next big star. It's a horrible, horrible situation to be in.
It's obviously because it looks like he's going to Liverpool, my team. I've never been, well, two of us haven't, we've never been involved in a transfer.
Yeah.
You know, we've always sort of, but I'd hate to think I would act like that. Or I'm not talking about Isak, I'm talking about players trying to get out of clubs, whether it's you're saying you're injured and you're not, or you don't turn up for training. I'm 99.9% certain I don't think I would ever do that. That club have brought you over, they're paying your wages, you're a god to the supporters. I mean, Isak, I know you mentioned the Carabao Cup. last season about Newcastle and that, but for Newcastle fans, that's like winning the Champions League. He haven't won a trophy for 70, 80 years?
70 years, yeah.
So he is a god. And when I go back to sort of the Tottenham thing with Son, I'm not saying he shouldn't want to move. I can understand him saying to Eddie Howe, listen, I've been amazing. You can get a big fee for me. Liverpool's another level. They're not happy to be in the Champions League. They want to win the league, the Champions League. I get that. But I don't think he's conducted himself really well. And he's going to lose that love that he's had. And that'll last a lifetime, that. Those Newcastle fans will never forget it. In that situation. So I'm almost disappointed a little bit with that. But what I would say is, and I've had this at Liverpool, and sometimes a player outgrows the team. You're a team who will fight for the Champions League to qualify. He's probably can play in a team who can win it.
Yeah.
And when that gap becomes too big, that's when you've got a problem as a player. And it happened to me with us at Liverpool, with Steven Gerrard. But we were lucky that he was a Liverpool fan and he was from the city. If Steven Gerrard wasn't a Liverpool fan, he'd have left.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah.
Because he was there and the team was there. Now, when Rafa Benitez came in, we won a Champions League, got to another final, we had a really good team and we were sort of there. But we had Alonso, Torres, Mascherano. As soon as our level dropped, they left. Because they were world-class players, but we weren't a world-class team. And that's the problem you're always having. That was the problem with Kane, with Tottenham. And that's the problem Newcastle have got right now. Almost Isak's become too good in some ways, where it's like he's thinking, this is not my level. So I understand he wants to move. I don't think he should be, people should have a go at him for that. But I don't think it's this thing about like not turning up for training or not going
That's
to
the
the
bad
pre-season.
side.
Which is why I'm trying to defend him for kicking up a fuss. Now, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. And I think it's very difficult for me and James to say we'd never kick up a fuss because we're at the clubs of our dreams already, do you know what I mean? Now, I don't think we can, well, we are, aren't we?
No, he's an Everton fan, he's giving me a look, you see.
All right. The second club of his dreams.
That's the one.
So if Everton came in, he might kick up a
He would,
fuss.
of course.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to say we wouldn't kick up a fuss if we weren't. Look, I love Newcastle. Newcastle, brilliant club. I love playing there. It was brilliant. But Liverpool, you've got to think of the lad's career as well, and he wants to win. So it's all right saying 300 grand a week and 250 grand a week. Brilliant, but when you look back at the end of your career, you want to see the medals you've won as well, and he's got a much better chance of winning the proper trophies at Liverpool.
See, and now that's where I think where a lot of our fans are starting to get themselves a little bit lost, and they're living in this sort of grandeur. I'm going to get slated when I go back to Newcastle here.
Oh, you'd be all right.
This grandeur, they're going to be putting us in her top. This grandeur that, right, we've won the first cup, this is the beginning now. Next year we'll win the FA Cup, and then the year after that we'll win the Champions League because we'll stay in the Champions League, and then we'll win the Premier League. And like, this isn't how it's going to go down. And Isak's looking at that. Isak's at the age now where he wants to go, right, how do I want to spend the next 4 years, which are potentially his peak years? How do I want to spend the next 4 years of my career? Do I want to be fighting to get back into the Champions League, or do I want to be fighting to get into the final of the Champions League, onto that podium? So I do understand that. I do get him with that. I think what a lot of fans look at is the likes of like Bruno and Joe Linton, who have sort of literally painted themselves black and white to the very core of the veins, and they think every single player should do that. And like you have just said there, if you're at the club of your dreams, you will.
But the point you've just made, I think it's an interesting point. Those players are top players.
Yeah.
Ran all over Liverpool in the cup final, but they haven't outgrown Newcastle, where they're like, that are a lot better than your team.
I think that Bruno's got an argument there. Like, I think
maybe.
Definitely.
Well, I think you're saying in best
Joe
position. Bruno's a brilliant player.
Yeah.
Is he the best midfield player in the
Yeah,
world?
I
We're
don't
talking
think
about Isak is the
that's Toon
best
Army.
centre forward in the world. Who's Toon Army?
Sorry.
Do you think it would be better for Newcastle to sell Isak in this window?
Putting my neck on the line here. Look, I think if we were able to get the right fee for him,
What is that?
I was saying this, for me, I want a price tag over at least £150 million.
No chance.
In for Isak. In for Isak.
No chance.
Serious.
I wouldn't want Liverpool to pay 150 million for it.
Would you, if he has a one for you though, right, and like any Liverpool fans, I wonder what the take is on this, where if you, before Isak kicked up the fuss and done everything he'd done, fresh off the end of the season, and you got told you need to pay 150 million, you just haven't bought Ekatike yet, you need to pay 150 million for Isak, are you then paying it?
That's a really good point. And the reason I'm talking about the 150, for me, I said it on the to the lads, to Liverpool fan, before Robbo that the fact Liverpool have spent 80 million on a striker already, I'm like, you can't have like a backup. It just feels 80 million on a backup striker. But I get what you're saying. If Liverpool hadn't bought Etetika, I'd maybe say, oh, just do it. But there's something about it now. 150 million for me, I said before, it feels like you're getting Mbappe for that. I think Isak's amazing, but I'm thinking 150 million. It's like, wow.
You're paying for his growth. I think, look.
That feels.
You look at
how far do you go? If someone says we'll pay
You've got
more,
to grow into R9 to be worth 150 million.
What's Haaland? If it's 150, what's Haaland?
It's also unpriced.
You now you paid 50 for him, didn't you?
How much?
Oh, everyone got weighed in there. Don't worry about that. Hey.
But no, I honestly, for me, would I sell Isak? No, personally, I want by the end of the summer transfer window for Isak to be on a new higher wage contract, guaranteed that he's going to be out there fighting for trophies.
He ain't going to sign a new contract. He won't sign a new contract.
I don't think that's going to happen now,
But
realistically.
Newcastle should adamantly refuse to sell under no circumstances and saying you are under contract, you have to play next season. He's not going to just pack himself, well, I'm not playing. Force him to show the muscle. Newcastle fans they've never stopped telling us how big a football club they are. Act like it and force him to say, I'm not saying you aren't huge, but you've got to act like it.
Supporters can. I mean, I'm sure at the moment Newcastle fans are going mad. We had a situation at Liverpool with Suarez where he wanted to go to Arsenal. The next season he had his best season of his life.
Yeah.
Modric.
And the fans still love him and love him. So it can happen. What I wanted to ask you though, you know the fact that Liverpool and Newcastle play each other so early in the season. So it's your first home game of the season.
Yeah.
I can't see a deal being done before that. I
same with
think
Harry
both
Kane.
clubs will just think, you know.
But then what does happen then? Like, are we going to have? And now this is my issue when we talk about it, and I will mirror exactly what you've just said there about we talk about being a bigger club, we talk about this, and this is where I look at a lot of our fans. And I look at what we're doing in a minute, and a lot of our fans are going on about how PSR's restricting where this is restricting where we were meant to have this summer window where it's our first green window where we can pay, we can go out there. And instead, we're going out and lowballing offers for the likes of Etetika, and we're putting in a £69 million bid, and what Liverpool got
James
for what?
Trafford as well.
He was James Trafford. We messed up that. In Buemo, we messed up that. And I know a lot of Newcastle fans have totally overlooked this, and I got a lot of hate for this. But personally, I can't believe how long it took you to mention Ryan Shirky earlier. You've got one of the best wingers. Yeah. And how much was it? 39 million. So all
25.
25, even worse. So all we had to do was realistically, this club who's got tons of money, go in there and turn around and go, there's 40 million for Shirky, and probably have got him. Yeah? Yeah?
But he's not going to go to... Why would he go to Newcastle over City?
Because of the potential. The potential of what's coming.
You're selling your best striker.
The project. Well, there's that side of it as well. Not willingly, but that's why I feel like you look at the likes of Bruno, Gordon, Elanga. Most of the time when you talk about it, how are we getting them players in? Because it baffles me. Don't get us wrong, it baffles me. And the whole reasoning is the project.
But we've got a little bit of breaking news.
I'm sweating
on the phone. Manchester United make an offer to RB Leipzig for Sesko.
Oh, God.
Proposal, €75 million plus €10 million in add-ons.
Yeah, we go again. I know.
And they believe the striker favours Old Trafford.
Oh!
Don't act surprised.
Why are you
How much for the mic?
surprised
I'm just
by
going to
that?
rip it off now when
Why is
this
he
is...
surprised by
I don't want him. I just want him so them lot get pissed off.
Do you know, it's past the point of getting like annoyed at yous now. This keeps happening. I'm getting annoyed at my own club at not putting the money where the mouth is.
It's not
and
about
going
money.
and
This is what
doing
you got to realise. This sounds real bad, but you got to realise where you are in the food chain. Man United might finish 15th, and you might get Champions League football, but no one dreams of playing for Newcastle over Manchester United.
Alan Shearer did, mate.
Alan Shearer.
Yeah, all-time Premier League top goal
Took him down. Then what?
Plenty of players.
top goal scorer.
And then
would
guess
much
what? We
rather-
signed Solskjaer and he won us the treble.
Oh, the Geordies
Much rather
are
sit
last.
here, win what they can, finish high, be competing in high-end places, than sitting at Manchester United, possibly fighting for relegation again with a manager who doesn't look.
Joe,
We're more likely to win.
does this give you more chance of keeping Isak? If you don't get another striker, there's no way you can sell Isak, is there?
Like, take all my annoyances and upset aside, does this give them more chance of keeping Isak with the way this summer window is going? Probably not. This probably just means now we're going to go and look at Ramos, and someone's probably going to come in. Who wants Ramos? Anyone? Do you know? Because we'll put a bid in, then you will just.
We got a Danish striker we want to get rid of if you want him, and a Brazilian winger. I mean.
From the point of Sesko, I think what Jamie's trying to say, well, what I'm trying to say as well is he'll have more chance at Newcastle to develop, which he needs. Now, to be a Manchester United centre-forward, as we found with Højlund, as a 22-year-old kid, you've got to be ready. It's got to be now. And Højlund just isn't quite good enough for that, as we've seen. But again, he's not had a chance to be developed. Him going to Newcastle might have been the best thing for him.
I think as well. I think you take away the club badge, it's the Eddie Howe effect. I've said this so often. Back in the day, I mean, like now, if ever Joe Linton comes out and has a bad game, I call him Bruce Linton. Because that's the old Joe Linton. You've got this Eddie Howe Joe Linton who's completely changed under Eddie Howe. Now, you take away Newcastle, you take away the support you get in the crowd, all of that. It is literally the Eddie Howe effect and what he does to younger players and developing players. He can turn a player around and make them amazing, and this is what I'm confused about with the likes of Sesko.
It's hard to turn United.
Can I ask about
You can't turn down Man United for over Newcastle. You just can't.
You can't.
Look, Man United finished 16th last year. You finished where you did. Which club realistically is going to be successful first?
Isak isn't going to want to come to Manchester United right now. The teams that are after him, it's not. It's not like Newcastle want to sign him. It's Liverpool want to sign him. The Premier League champions, like it's teams that are going to win the trophy.
Do you think he'd rather stay at Newcastle than go to United?
No, but
yeah,
that's going against what you just said.
Trophies.
No, but
that's what you just said.
No, if Newcastle were in the market to sign him, he wouldn't.
Same thing though. You said he'd just rather stay at Newcastle than go to United.
Shut up, man.
Want to go somewhere where you're fighting trophies, not relegation.